Hello and welcome to Simple French Cooking. My name is Francois. Today I want to teach you one of my all-time favorite desserts to make in the whole wide world. When I was a little boy, my mom used to make this dish for me all the time. It's called Beignets aux Pommes, or in English, it's a French apple fritter. Anybody can make this. The version we're gonna make today is gonna be served with vanilla ice cream and a salted caramel sauce. So stay tuned, I'm gonna teach you how to make that today. The very first step is to prep your apples. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is peel the apples, and we're gonna cut them into about 1/2-inch slices. Take the cores out, and then we're gonna marinate it in a combination of Calvados and sugar. If you're not sure what Calvados is an apple brandy from the north of France. Super strong, super delicious. You're gonna love it. If you can't find Calvados in America, you can easily find Laird's apple brandy or apple jack, I think it's called. You could use that. You could marinate this in apple cider, and all we're doing here is just trying to reinforce the appley flavor. Of course, if you don't want to, you don't have to marinate it in anything. For this step, all we're gonna do is take 1 cup of Calvados, pour it into a container, and put a 1/2 cup of sugar. Let's just mix that up. All right. Eventually the sugar will dissolve. Now when you're done marinating the apples, I like to save this liquid and make a sauce for like pork chops. It works great on chicken. We'll talk about that more later on. Let's get to those apples. So I live in the Pacific Northwest of America. Right now it's August and the very first apples have come. So what we're gonna do is just peel them. The easiest way is to cut off the base here, then just cut off the top part. Now you could just go around with a paring knife, or if you feel more comfortable, you could use a vegetable peeler. I just find it a little faster, and for some reason, strangely more satisfying to do it this way. And so you don't have to keep this in one piece. It doesn't make any bit of difference at all. Do your best job, that's all you gotta do. All right, and then we're gonna cut that into 1/2-inch slices. I usually get about 4 or 5 slices per apple. And then just cut the core out using your paring knife. Just be careful not to cut yourself, obviously. All right, comes out super easy, there you go. And then just drop it in the marinade. And I would save all these scraps. When we make our pork sauce later, I'm gonna use these just to kind of reinforce the apple flavor. All right, now that we're done cutting our apples, we're just gonna let it marinate for about 2 hours. You could even let this sit overnight. You just don't wanna sit any more than that because otherwise it becomes too strong of an alcohol flavor. Step 2, it's time to make the beignet batter. We're gonna take 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, pinch of salt. We want about 1 tablespoon or so of sugar. Just mix that all up in there. And then to this, we're gonna add 2 egg yolks. We're gonna save the whites to whip them and fold them in later. So let's take the 2 egg yolks. You know, always crack eggs on flat surfaces. That way you don't get sharp edges and you won't break your yolks and you won't have the whites and the yolks mixed together. Alrighty. We're gonna add about 1 cup of sparkling cider. You could also use sparkling water, you could use champagne, you could use beer, it doesn't matter. Just more apple is obviously gonna give it more appley flavor. Let's pour that in here. And then we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of oil. All right, let's just mix this all up here really well. Perfect. All right, and then we're gonna beat our egg whites. And if you have an electric mixer, you could do it that way, or a stand mixer. I like doing it this way. All right, in just a few seconds, you get your egg whites nice and fluffy like that. Just gonna add just a little spoonful of sugar, about a teaspoon, and just keep whisking it a little more. All right, there we go. So I'd say they're about medium peaks, and then we're just gonna fold it in the beignet batter. And just mix it up. And this is really so your beignet batter will be nice and light. Step 3, this is the fun part. Now we're gonna make salted caramel sauce. So we need about a 1/4 cup of water, and let's just turn that on. And then we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of sugar. Okay, we're gonna let the sugar cook now for about 3 to 5 minutes. What we're looking for is the sugar to turn a medium brown, amberish color. You don't wanna walk away from this step, because the second from just like a light brown to black and burnt is like in a split second. It happens that quick. You also want to be very careful when you cook in sugar, because sugar burns are among the worst. What happens, you splash a little sugar on your hand, the sugar sticks and it just continues to burn. It really hurts a lot. Trust me, I've done it a few times. One of the things you're going to notice as you're cooking sugar is in the very beginning, the bubbles are kind of large. And as this continues to cook and all like the water kind of evaporates out of this, the bubbles are gonna get a lot finer and tinier. Notice the bubbles are starting to get a little bit smaller, and the sugar is starting to turn like an amberish color. And this has been about 2 to 3 minutes so far. You just want to keep swirling the pan gently to make sure it's not like cooking a little bit unevenly, like a little bit darker on the sides than in the middle. Because like I said, it goes from this beautiful amber brown to burnt in a quick second. All right, look at that, it's happening so quick. Now to stop the caramel from cooking, you need something. So what we're gonna be adding is about a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. All right, I think that's just almost there. Look at that, and see how small the bubbles are now? Oh, it's so caramely yummy. All right, let's add about a 1/4 cup, and watch out. You don't want to splash any of this on you. I'm also going to add about 1 tablespoon of butter in there. And then we're going to add about a teaspoon of flake salt. You can even turn off the burner now. Look at that. I think I'm going to add just a touch. Probably didn't add enough. All right, look at that beautiful sauce. That is perfect. Now resist the urge to taste it right now, because I guarantee you will burn yourself. Step 4, now comes the fun part. We're cooking the beignet. So you want to heat oil in a large pan, or a large enough pan. You only want the oil about halfway up. You're going to heat the oil to 350 degrees. You need to be very careful. I would strongly suggest that if you haven't done a lot of frying in the past, that you put a deep fryer thermometer in there to monitor the temperature, because you don't want the oil to get too hot, because you could start a fire, and you don't want the oil to get too cool, because then your food will soak up a lot of the oil and it'll be really heavy. What you want to do is take an apple slice and just shake off any of the excess liquid. Then we're going to dip it in the beignet batter, make sure it's really covered well on both sides. All right. And then we're just gonna drop that right into the oil. Let's do a few more. All right, let's just turn these beignets over as they're cooking. And look at that. I mean, this just takes like a few minutes to cook. Let's do one more. Also, if your oil is too hot, what's going to happen is the beignet will cook really quickly and the apple won't actually be done in the inside. It'll be really hard. All right, then when they're nice golden brown, we're just going to take them out. And you can save your oil when you're done. I would always recommend putting it into a clean jar, like a mason jar, and then writing on it fry oil. And then I also would never cook any seafood with this oil. I always keep one oil for things like pastries and savory things, and then another oil that I might cook some seafood in. All right, when it's nice and golden brown like that, you're gonna take it off and just drain it. And let's go on to the next step. All right, here's the best time now. Step 5, it's time to plate your beignets aux pommes. Oh my God. So what we're gonna do is take just one of these guys. Now you could dust this with powdered sugar if you want, but to me, it makes it just a little bit overly sweet. I'm gonna use a scoop of vanilla ice cream. You know, make sure you get your scoop hot before, that way you get it out really easy. And then we're just gonna pour the caramel sauce all around it. Oh my God, look at that dessert. Wow, take a look at that. Oh. All right, let's give it a try. Oh my God, this looks so insane. You know what I love best is the classic flavors. It's like apple pie a la mode. I mean, vanilla ice cream with apples, classic. Salted caramel just adds that like extra touch. Whoa. Oh my God. Mm. 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 You know, it just brings me right back to my childhood. Mm. 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 This is so good. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications. I appreciate you watching. This is so, so good. Hi, and thanks for watching to the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot to me. Give me a thumbs up too in the comments, and then if you hit the notifications, you'll know when I post a new video. So, a long time ago when I started cooking, my very first mentor was a chef named Michel Leborn, and Michel always said, I lost my first million in a garbage can. Well, actually what he said was, François, I lost my first million in a garbage can. And so ever since that day, I've had a really hard time throwing things away because there's always another use. You know, and when you're cooking at home, I have a family, I'm cooking for my kid, my wife. It's all about trying to save money and be a little bit more economical in what we do. And so, you know, we save these apple peels. I also have the leftover cider. No, I didn't drink it. And so we're gonna take this stuff and make a sauce. So what I'm gonna do is just pour this into a pan. We're gonna bring it to a boil and reduce it by half. So far, so simple. And this sauce, this is gonna be a cider sauce for pork. It's also great on chicken. You're gonna love it. It tastes so great and it's so fall-y. Perfect for right now. Anyways, I'm gonna cook this down by 50% and then I'll show you the next step. It's cooked down about 50%. Now I have the leftover Calvados marinade for the apples. Gonna pour that in. And then just once again, I'm gonna take this and whatever amounts in the pan there, I'm gonna reduce by 50%. Now you see it's reduced by about 50%. We're just gonna add a splash of cream. Then swirl it around. And then we're gonna let this cook down till it's thickened. So again, about 50%. I would say it's gonna take probably about 5 minutes for it to cook down to the sauce consistency. All right, that took actually about 2 minutes for it to cook down. Now I'm just gonna add just a touch of vinegar. I'm using an apple cider vinegar and I'm putting in about a teaspoon or so. You could use like a squeeze of lemon. What the acid does, whether it's lemon juice or a little vinegar or apple cider vinegar, is it just adds a little more complexity to your sauce, and it's going to cut through the sweetness of the sauce, and it's also going to work with the fattiness of the pork. And the very last thing we're going to do is just add a little tablespoon or so of butter, and we're just going to cook that till the butter melts. We're going to strain it, and then we're going to pour it over our pork chop. Let me just pour a little bit of this over my pork chop. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Let's give it a taste. Apple and pork, another great combination. You need to give this a try in your kitchen. So make this for the main course, have the apple beignet for your dessert. You got a perfect fall meal. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is Francois. I'll see you soon.